Welcome to the Redvee TV preview show, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2022 season, as we look ahead to this Friday night's round 19 Betfred Super League clash against the Huddersfield Giants at the Totally Wicked Stadium. Kevin, we're still buzzing from the weekend, aren't we?
Yes, too right. Great last couple of minutes though. One to remember. I saw quite a few of the celebration police outs as well on Twitter, saying, well, you've only won a game. But listen, if you can't get excited by beating your nearest and dearest in the last couple of minutes, when can you get excited by sport?
See, I've not seen any of that. That bizarre. So in that case then, over the last few years, generally, cups aside, there's only Saints who are able to celebrate a grand final.
Obviously so with people like that, yeah, you can't celebrate winning in the last 2 minutes against your local rivals, the biggest derby in rugby league. Apparently to some people you can't celebrate it. I guarantee if the shoe had been on the other foot, we'd have seen a lot of celebrations from the other side of Billingill.
Absolutely. And do you know what? While we're on about atmosphere, do you know what? This is the thing the club need to be selling, because do you know what? The product on the pitch, Saints, 3 times champions, fantastic.
Yeah.
But you can watch the game on TV, and you can still you still see good rugby league, but watching on TV. But it doesn't beat being there.
Yes.
And the videos that got put up of the fans on the concourse afterwards, bouncing around, those are the things you remember. They are the reasons you go to the game. And we've been talking ourselves the last couple of weeks. I personally think our fan base and our support is in a really good place at this moment in time. And I'll give a big hand to the group of Saints fans, the lads who are standing, and lasses, who are standing in W2, generally for home games, and they're coming en masse away from home as well. Yeah. And it's one of those things, once you get a group willing to create an atmosphere and get behind the team, it'll snowball and get bigger and bigger. And I think they're doing a really good job of it at this moment in time. I think we've had a gap for a few years, obviously. In the late 90s, early 2000s, you had the Gerrard, you had the Fun Bus. And it now looks like we've got another group of lads and lasses who are stepping up to the mark. And it's making it a really good place to be. It's making people want to travel away from home to support the team. Listen, it helps that the product on the pitch is top notch. Yeah,
definitely.
And will it keep going if we drop down the table to the likes of 3rd or 4th? Say that because we never outside, but it's good times. And for me, the more exposure the fans get, the atmosphere gets, I think the club are embracing it. You see the likes on social media with the club retweeting like the Waka Waka song, and the way they put the cameras on the crowd, filming when they're doing the videos for Saints TV. We're in a good place. There you go. There's me sermon for the night.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you're right. Listen, it is Burnley, as people know I support Burnley. Our season ticket strapline for this season is nothing like live. And it's a great one because you don't have that same feeling, that same connect. And I know not everybody can get the game, and this isn't a chat about people who, whatever their circumstances, can't make it to the game. But if you find yourself with that little bit of extra cash and are wondering whether to get down, as you say, getting that atmosphere right. And people will still obviously want the atmosphere at Knowsley Road that we had at Knowsley Road. You've got to build that over time. It doesn't just transfer with you, does it?
You know what, Kevo? It's a myth. It's one of those, when everybody looks back in rose-tinted glasses, Knowsley Road for 8 games out of 10 was dead. It was. You got an atmosphere when you needed it.
Yeah. You remember the good ones, and that's it though. But because people remember that, and they can see the here and now, and might see us against a club on a Easter Monday or whatever, and it not quite being up there because you know what? Everybody's had a great Easter weekend. It's sunny. We're playing someone like Catalan, who have brought a couple of fans over. There's not the kind of the back and forth. And again, this isn't a go at teams not bringing away fans. Whole different discussion in that. But yeah, people just see the here and now with this group of fans that we've got, and it extends to everyone, but led by a very vocal group of lads and lasses. They're doing a great job, mate. Doing an absolutely fantastic job.
I think the best part for me is, maybe it's a social thing, but over the years, we used to get the juniors come through, and when they get to 17, 18, for various reasons, they tend to get off and stop coming for other outside influences in their life, maybe. But this group have stuck with it. Late teens, early 20s. And the numbers are swelling, and I think it's only going to get bigger, and they're getting organised as well, which is a really good thing to see, and it's a real positive. So yeah, crack on, lads. Really enjoying it. And do you know what, Kev? When we're talking about people not being able to afford it, we're not talking about people who just can't afford to go to the game. I'm talking about the people who'd rather spend that money to go and sit in an ale house and watch it on Sky, and spend probably twice as much.
Yeah, well, that's it. You're right, because it's not about those whose circumstances dictate otherwise, is it? But yeah, long may that atmosphere continue. Long may them bounces. I mean, to be honest, I'd rather we didn't have to. I'd rather we didn't have to go through the thing of scoring in the last minute. But it does make for a good bounce right at the end, doesn't it?
Do you know what? Obviously, as some will know, when a little girl started coming, she came. The first game she came to was Castaway with the kids playing. Loved it. Wants to come back. Rinsed me for a half-season ticket. Rinsed me for a Magic shirt. It was cheaper when she didn't come. But came to Magic. Wanted to come to Magic at the weekend with us. Did the road trip. Loved it. And she got to experience a Saints moment.
Yeah. A true memorable one. That's it. I did like a question of if she could play out when she got home, not realising that we're only going to be home from Newcastle a lot later on.
Do you know what? She came up with a saying. She said, "You should never underestimate the Saints."
Oh, so near yet so far.
So near yet no so far. But yeah, so yeah, we scored the last minute winner. I don't remember much after we scored because I ended up picking her up and legging it up and down the aisle with her bouncing round. And then she was getting carried round by the second best Dave in her life, she said, Mr. Howarth.
Yeah, good man.
I said, he doesn't really like her. He just sees a potential coach for her of the future.
I'm sure he'll love that. But listen, it was a great day. We spent a bit of time with also of this parish, Kev Cunningham, didn't we, and his family. Great weather for it as well. Listen, we could discuss for hours on end probably whether we should be back in Newcastle and how they could improve it, where they could move it to. But as it was this year, it was a great year for us up there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think you get many complaints from those that go. The people who are complaining about Magic Weekend or complaining about Newcastle are the fans who haven't been to it. And I don't get that. All the fans who go from all clubs love it. So for me, listen, it's made a profit for Super League, and that's the main thing.
Is that the main thing?
Well,
is that the main thing now? You see, this is where my question lies. Is it to grow the sport or is it to make a profit?
It's not to grow the sport.
If they're clear about the second one and it's to make a profit, then fair enough. If we're still going under the premise of to grow the sport, I believe Newcastle Thunder only get average gates for about 1,000. I know they got 3,000 or something the night before. It's not doing the job that it should do in that
If
respect.
It was to grow the sport, Newcastle Thunder would be playing in the middle of Magic Weekend at St James Park. It's to make a profit. And listen, it's doing a decent job of that. Speaking of Kev Cunningham, we were having a chat the other day, and he was again back to the atmosphere. he was saying he can't remember that many atmospheres like that where there's been such a bounce and things. And he said, he was asking me like, do I remember many of them from like going the footy? I support Everton, so not, you don't get loads and loads, but you get memorable moments. Like in my life, where obviously the last couple of Everton games, like that Palace game when we stayed up, was just unreal. But in previous years, you remember certain games like Fiorentina in the UEFA Cup in 2008, going to Nuremberg. There's certain atmospheres in your life you'll remember, and I guarantee that concourse and that atmosphere after we beat Wigan at Magic will be remembered for years to come.
Yeah, and rightly so. Listen, as I say, that the celebration police might have been out, but everybody who was there, everyone who enjoyed that, should keep that as a good memory and shouldn't let others tell you when and when you can't celebrate.
It's certainly wiped last year's Catalan defeat out.
Yes,
I actually said earlier in the week in one of my written pieces that I write, that the club owed, not that they should, given the trophies, but the club owed the fans a performance at Magic after what happened last year, and they delivered.
Yeah, that's it. I suppose on the flip side of that, do you then worry that Wigan have taken that beating like we did and could then come stronger? They learn from that. And listen, I'm not saying that I wanted to lose again and us have to learn another lesson, but there's two sides to every coin, isn't there?
Listen, you have to say at this moment in time, if it is to be a Saints Wigan final, that's probably our toughest opponent at this moment in time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Matty Pete has got them playing really, really well. I still think, and listen, they could end up being grand final winners, could end up being champions, but I still think that if you speak to some of the fans, I've seen a couple saying they just need maybe another prop forward, centre definitely, because they seem to be playing with anyone but a centre in the centres at times. Maybe that's something that they need to look at in recruitment. But it's Pete's first year, and you know what? He's doing a good job with them, isn't he? Unfortunately, and to make matters worse, he speaks really well as well.
You've just robbed me next question, Ken. I was about to say, does it make you feel a little bit dirty that he's an honest fella? And listen, the only difference between him and us is that he's a Wiganer.
Yeah,
he seems quite fair and honest. And listen, I'm sure he'll get worn down over the years and he'll like morph into Sean Wayne. But at this moment in time, he's nice and fresh. He's only just recently been infected with the Wigan first team. The wrestle hasn't quite got there yet, and the grub. But at this moment in time, he's a quite likeable chap.
He is. He speaks quite a lot of sense. Listen, he's always going to have a pair of cherry and white glasses on, isn't he?
And an all-web t-shirt.
And an all-web Elgren t-shirts. But he's, yeah, that's it. I think this is where Wigan fans, I saw him when Holbrook was in charge, and they were saying, he's just a nice bloke, isn't he, as well with it? And I hate the fact that I think he's a nice bloke. It's possibly something similar with him here. He speaks sense. I'm not going to say he's winning me round, but he's doing a very good job of trying to do that.
Listen, for all the banter we always have with Wigan, we've always said that there's mutual respect there. If Wigan win a trophy, it is what it is. Wigan are always going to win trophies, just like Saints are. Not like Warrington, who are a nothing club, but Wigan are a big club.
Well, they are, and I think that's
not like Leeds. Leeds are a tiny club.
You see, don't start again. Yeah, you see,
odds out.
I've seen a couple of tweets as well, which is like Saints and Wigan coming together to both hate Warrington. I wouldn't go as far as saying that I hate Warrington. I think I'd have to care about them to hate them. But I just think that Saints and Wigan do have this mutual grudging respect that, you know what, they're always going to be there or thereabouts. A bad season doesn't happen, or consecutive bad seasons don't happen that often. So there's always a chance of silverware, and you, as you say, you've got to just take it as it is, haven't you?
Yeah. Right. We're supposed to be a preview show.
I think we've had a good chat there. Let's call it a day.
Yes. Right. On to the squads for the weekend, Kev. Huddersfield. The game's coming thick and fast now at the top of the table. Huddersfield in third place. And Christian Wolf has named an unchanged squad.
Good. It's good that we can. Listen, I think we'd all rather see Tommy Makinson back in, and I think we'd all rather see Matt Percival back in. But like Lewis Dodd as well, I know that would be absolutely a miracle if he comes back this season. But I think just having a little bit of continuity is going to help, and it's seeing the likes of, and I'll mention it, but Will Hopoate being able to be in there for another week. I know he's been in squads before for week after week, but you put a tweet out on Redvee about his contribution. The guy put the stats out, and you put a little opinion tweet out. 248 meters was it that he made? His positioning, his hands, like the last 10 minutes, it just showed. We said it after the Alex Walmsley testimonial game, that he looked a Rolls Royce. He looked like he could make the game look very, very easily. He's probably not going to have a lot of games where everything kind of comes as easy as that. But if he can keep fit, and we know it's not his fault, but if he can stay fit, and we can get that combination of 1, 6, and 7 playing together on a regular basis, it can only be good for us.
Yeah, the hands he showed for that, the last try to get the ball out to Joe Batchelor to set him away. If Jamie Lyon had done that in a Saints jersey, we'd be creaming ourselves for years to come. And I think just because Bats had so much to do after that and did it and got the majority of the credit, I think Will Hopoate went under the radar a little bit. And you know what? That's one in the face for everybody on the internet, the social media, who will go and send him home. He's no good. He's always injured. That's why you persevere and you stick by your players, because they'll come good for you.
Well, that's it. I mean, listen, you can look at the likes of Joel Thompson and see that he picked up an injury and didn't really hit where we wanted him to be. Will Hopoate was just getting little injuries. It wasn't specific, right, we're doing this. The Saints tend to be a little bit more cautious with bringing people back. The only problem with that is then they've had longer outs, so you're more susceptible to getting hurt again. But as it was, we've hopefully brought him back at the right time here.
It's laughable though, Kev. Right? Can you imagine? Just imagine if the club did do what some of the imbeciles, that's what I'm going to call them, ask for, and the minute somebody gets injured, we'll take them out the club. Well, first of all, we'd have had no Johnny Lomax, we wouldn't have a Mark Percival, you wouldn't have Will Hopoate. Can you imagine trying to go to Australia to recruit the next big talent who wants to come over to Super League to play for the club, and they see how you treat your players?
Yeah.
How would you attract anyone? At the end of the day, he's been unlucky, but he's come good for us when it mattered.
Well, that's it. And as you say, you've got to treat him. You've got to treat him well. You've got a duty occurred to. Imagine going into work and you're saying, "Oh, boss, I'm not feeling the best today." All right, okay. Well, why don't you have a couple of days off? See how you go. You go back in for a bit. I'm still not quite right. Well, you know what? Take a week or two off and see how you are. Come back in. Then by the third or fourth, he's going, right, I'm going to sack you. It's the same thing they're asking for. Put it an analogy. This is a job to Will Hopoate.
Absolutely.
Whether he enjoys doing it, like James Roby switches off from rugby completely once he's finished playing. He doesn't listen to anything, doesn't watch, barely watches anything.
Doesn't even watch this, Kev?
No. Well, possibly does. Who knows? But that's what you're doing. You're asking someone to be released from the job just because he's unfortunate with injuries. And you mentioned Mark Percival there. And Percy's unlucky, but he injured his knee against Huddersfield on Easter Monday. played another 3 or 4 times after it, and has ended up having to have a bit of an extended spell out. Tommy Makinson cops a knee in the hamstring early in the Leeds game, plays through, then plays against Catalan, but unfortunately has to come off halfway through the first half and has a bit of a bad one. Listen, the part and parcel of it. I think it's only because if we were talking about Ben Davis, John Bennison, Dan Hill, somebody like that here, rather than Will Hopewati, people wouldn't notice it. But because he's a big name player, as in one of our imports, people start coming up with mad ideas that you just think, have a step back and think about what you're saying.
Yeah. I'll file it in the same category as the ones who wants to go and sign a kicker because your first 3 are out injured.
Well, that's it. Listen, of that squad who's kicked goals, Wellesby's kicked some for the reserves. Hopewati's kicked 1 in first grade, I think. Sirenen's kicked 1 in first grade. Alex Walmsley's kicked 1 in his testimonial.
So here's one for you then. If Big Al plays on Friday, will he get the kicking duties? And first of all, and the first question is, we're talking about duty of care. Has he come back in this week and gone and asked for paternity leave? Has anybody told him he's entitled to it?
He's entitled to it. Well, my first question, just to bat it back to you, is, did you watch the preview show last week? Because we covered this. I actually said to Peter that because Alex Walmsley is the only 100% record goal kicker, would he get the duties at Newcastle? As it was, congratulations to Alex on the arrival of his new baby. But he didn't get the chance. He didn't get the chance to add to his kicking percentage. And from Christian Wolf's comments, it's going to be John Bennison again this week. Big pressure.
If Big Al had been on the pitch in Newcastle and after the first couple had missed, I would have just had Al asking him. Because there's been videos, the club I've seen videos of him converting from the touchline. Knowsley Road then. That would have been a good kick. At the Totally Wicked in training.
There's a lot of difference, as probably John Bennison found out, to kicking in training and kicking when it feels like it's a cup final because of the atmosphere, the stage that you're on, the opponents that you've got, and you're trying to boot one over from the touchline. That
said, I bet Big Al's got a bigger leg than John.
Yes.
But there we go. Right. So, Kev, team this week then. The obvious is Big Al comes back in, but who drops out?
I'd guess Dan Norman.
Not Louis?
I think, no. I'd guess Dan Norman. I think that we'd keep Louis on because Louis brings that little bit of pace and that bit of energy as well. I thought Iggy Parsi went well as a starting prop, but I think he'll drop down to the bench. I just think Jake Wingfield kind of offers you the second row option as well as prop and 13, and I can just see him keeping that spot.
Yeah. Sione will continue in the team despite the RFL's attempts to ban him. I think I hear people keep saying that the RFL is in Saint's pocket. It's the RFL that keeps banning our players. It's the independent review panel that keeps getting us off. Yeah. And let's be honest, we've seen them banned and we posted John there. It was very similar to what he got the ban for at Cass. But it's not a ban, is it? It's not even a penalty. It's a player committed to a tackle. Yeah. And it's just and I tweeted about Matt Pryor's 2-game ban as well. That's shocking.
Yeah. Listen, the thing is that they're making a rod for their own back here. They've got to start. They've given them for a handful of these, so they've got to keep giving them. And sometimes I think that collisions happen because it's such a contact sport that you're going to get collisions. And you know what? Sometimes they're accidents. Sometimes they're meant. They're intentional. But so you just think that there's no common sense there whatsoever. And I know on Twitter, I saw people whinging about it, as you say, people turning around and saying, or Saints have got the RFL in the back pocket, as you say, and stuff like that. And it was a Wigan fan who actually tweeted to the RFL. Let me just find it here. I'm doing it you now.
Are you sure he's a Wigan fan?
Yes.
I've seen him in the Saints shirt.
I have seen him in the Saints shirt, but Saints Helens shouldn't have to keep appealing to make sure Paul Cullen's team make a competent decision. The process is a weekly lottery with players' careers being abused. And you know, when you read it and you think, yeah, fair enough. Because
you can guarantee, Kev, there's players who come off that field after a win and travel home and have no idea until a Monday morning that they've even done anything wrong themselves.
Yeah, exactly. There'll be somebody know that like, right, I'm going to get done for that one. I know full well I'm going to get done for that one. But as Alex has said in that tweet there, it becomes a lottery. And if it was a competent decision, our appeals would just be
frivolous,
dismissed. Yeah, well, they'd be dismissed whether they were frivolous or not. They'd be dismissed. We wouldn't get any change out of them. You notice that we don't appeal them all because we know which ones we can.
Yeah,
we've got a case with.
Kev, would you go with my suggestion that I posted this week, where potentially put it back in the hands of the clubs and ask the clubs to cite incidents that they feel are ban-worthy? And it stop. Listen, I know people think, well, people be putting things in out of spite, but maybe put something in place where if a club cites frivolously, there's some sort of penalty for them. Listen, you can put something forward and it be found not guilty, absolutely fine. But if they start taking the mick with it, then fair enough. I think you'd find that players and clubs, they know the incidents where things are deliberate or that's a little bit off or a bit dirty. Yeah. I guarantee there's nobody on that Wigan side who saw that tackle from Sione on Jay Field and thought that's a penalty, that's bad. It's just and the thing that gets me is Paul Cullen played the game
and was a dirty player as well.
So I'd go for I'd like to trial that and see it, rather than games being re-reffed, letting clubs cite. Like for example, if the video ref hadn't seen the Singleton on Sirenen effort, then we'd have gone and cited that and said he's coming late there, led with the shoulder, direct contact to the head. We want you to look at that incident.
Yeah, and I think that's fair enough. I think there's merits in that idea. As you see, you've got to work around everything that could be frivolous. Like you just turn around and say, like, you know what? If somebody had thrown that Matt Pryor one in when he hits him in the same second that on the clock, he hits him in the same second that Danny Richardson's kicked it. Not 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 10 seconds late. It's in the same second. He's committed to it.
But nobody in the stadiums booed, complained, gone, ooh, ooh,
ooh.
Ooh, that's a bit naughty. Danny Richardson's not got up complaining about it. It's just not a penalty.
Yeah, that's it. I do feel for Matt Pryor there that he's now got to sit out two
games. It's like the game. Do they realise it's only a 29-game season?
Yeah.
Sione thinks he's on a half-season ticket for us.
Well, and then you have a look at frivolous stuff, and you think about Harry Newman, who again has challenged his 3-game ban and lost again.
He's challenged it after he's already saved 2.
Yeah, but did you see it? Like, the thing is, you see him doing it. You can't do that. And whether he should have got a 2-game ban to start off with or 1 and just said, listen, that's your first time doing that. Pack it in. There's your warning of one game. And we wouldn't still be listening and still talking about it. But the fact that he appealed it after being in histrionic, it's not even as if he's gone up calmly to the referee, told him everything kind of on the quiet so the referee's mic doesn't pick it up. He's gone in, flailing his arms about like the worst thing in the world's just happened.
But the worst part about that incident, Kev, was the referees bottled it on the pitch.
Yes.
And allowed him to do it.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Should have sent him for 10, at least. Well, when you think about things, you have a look at that. You have a look at Jack Wellsby pushing someone over or booting the ball in the stand, which is a yellow because you're stopping the quick retake. But you're having a look at that and thinking, hang on, is that not the same? Is that not the same type of offence that you should be sent for 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right, Huddersfield, Kev, going well in third place, challenging Wigan for second. Ian Watson's got the lads pairing.
He has indeed. A couple of names that we're very familiar with there. In Theo Farge, Josh Jones, Joe Greenwood, Jack Ashworth in there as well. That Toby King one came a bit left field, didn't it?
Yeah.
With him swapping over with Wardle at Warrington. But listen, they are going well, and they've not had Will Price for 10 games. So for them to still be up there, I think Theo's missed a couple with injury as well. For them still to be up there, I mean, fair play to him. I think people were expecting a bit more off him last year. But again, it's just giving a coach time who can get his ideas across, get how he wants to play rugby across, and it looks to be going well for him.
Yeah, hopefully Theo Farge will get a really good welcome back on Friday at the Totally Wicked. There's some good names in that squad, isn't there? Lola here has been going well for them. Obviously, Will Price is a future Saints superstar. Danny Levi in a hooker. You just feel he's got it in the genes. And Joe Greenwood, always a good, well, he was good while he was with us anyway.
Yeah, listen, again, we were on about big moments that you won't forget. Joe Greenwood's try in front of the West Stand against Wigan.
Yeah.
Again, another great moment.
That was the first real big atmosphere at the stadium, if you remember.
It was, yeah.
I think, did name and christen it and basically say that's when the stadium came to life?
I think he did. Yeah, I think he did. And wasn't did we have? Was that the time that we had Stu Howarth on loan as well?
Is that when Eamon had a dream?
Yes, yes, it is when Eamon had a dream
to build our team.
Yeah, we had injuries, so we signed Stu Howarth on loan. Yeah, we'll leave that there.
See,
not as good as Waka Waka. But yeah, I'm sure it was on Monday night as well. But yeah, that's it. Chris McQueen's going really well for them. I think Luke Yates is one of the form players and one of the best players that they've got as well. He just links things in their forwards, tackles anything that moves as well. But yeah, listen, they've got a couple of young, exciting players there as well. As you say, you mentioned Will Price there. Ollie Russell's a good one as well. In his senior, I think his brother's gone over to Hull KR on loan, going into permanent. But they've listen, they're doing well, and they need something. When we're on about crowds, Huddersfield's home crowd, the people who don't go watching Huddersfield, this is almost like they're building something here. This is the time to get on board with it when they're building it. Don't be too late getting back on board. It's never a go. When you mention crowds, it's never a go at the people who turn up. It's at those who don't, and as you say, sit in an alehouse and watch it and decide that that's the point. Please get behind your team. We understand that people have different priorities in life, but
they'll still bring golden leads.
Yeah. As long as they've not allowed that cowbell in, then we're all right.
Well, they will. I'll count them. Right, Kev, you were right. Stu Howarth was in that team. July 2013. 9 years. How scary is that? 9
What
years.
what date was it on though?
22nd of July. So it's pretty much
22nd of
9
July.
years, not far off to the day. Kev, here's one for you. In that
Go on.
lineup, there was 4 Saints players who were still with us in the squad and played on that night. Who are they?
Makinson,
Yeah,
Rolby.
no. That's why we signed. That's why we signed
That's
Stuart.
why we signed Stuart. Was Lomax,
Yes, there's 2.
Louis?
Yeah.
This is terrible, terrible.
It's the easiest one now.
So I've said Makinson.
You said Lomax. You said Louis.
Lomax and Louis. Big Al?
Big Al. As a boy off the bench.
No.
He couldn't even get ahead of Anthony LaFranchi in the team. But there we go. Right. We better finish off, Kev, because we've ranted too long this evening. Predictions. Saints by 14.
It was a Monday night as well. It was a Monday night. I knew it was. Saints by, I don't know, somewhere between 13 and 15, I reckon.
Yeah, okay.
I'll take Saints on the spread 11 to 15.
Saints by 20. No. That might be a bit too much.
Yeah, I think that's a bit strong.
Saints by 10. Right. Back at it Friday evening. Hopefully Shakira's going to play the halftime show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Catch you soon. Oh, Kev, before I go, Euro Millions is like 180 million this week.
191.
191. If I win it, I am buying the club. And I'm because I'm not going to be in the country ever. I'm going to install you as chairman.
No, don't, no, because no. Leave the chairman as it is.
No, Eamon's staying as well. He's honorary life chairman. You're just going.
All right.
I just want to give you a better job.
Does that make me Rush's boss?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get to see all them Micron videos that he keeps showing the disciplinary panel to get our players off.
Last one before we go, even though we've already done like, share, and subscribe. If you were chairman for the day, what's the one thing that you'd do?
I'll have to think about that.
Come back to that one. Don't forget to like, share. That's an episode on its own. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.